Alright my dudes, I'm Exelia and welcome to my channel. Come in, get comfy and let's chat about cosplay. Hi, I'm Heather and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be part of my Cosplay for Beginners series here on YouTube. Every video in my Cosplay for Beginners series is going to be linked down below, and I have a huge range of videos that are very beginner friendly, covering all different aspects. You'll also find timestamps in the description if you want to skip to a specific part of this video. So there are three main ways that you can buy a costume. First, you can buy a pre-made costume online. Secondly, you can commission someone to make a costume custom for you, or you can modify clothes to make it look more like a costume. Let's talk about buying a costume. So if you want to buy a pre-made costume, where can you find one? The first step in buying a costume is making sure that you can buy it in the first place. So it's best to go and have a look, have a Google, see if that costume is actually available and where you can buy it from. There are a lot of places you can buy pre-made costumes from, whether it's through their own website, through places like eBay, AliExpress or Taobao, where you'll be able to get a pre-made costume to either preset sizes or custom sizes. If you're going to order a costume online, it's really important to check the measurements, because what is a medium to you might not necessarily be an Asian medium. So for example, I am a UK size 12, I usually wear a size medium. If I order a costume from China, I have to get either an extra large or a custom size, because they don't go up to my body size, because, you know, standards are different. So it's really important to make sure that you check and you double check your measurements when ordering. I don't want to recommend specific stores, but it is really important if you're going to order from somewhere online that you do a little bit of research first. If you have friends who cosplay, maybe ask them if they've had any experience with stores you're going to order from. Check reviews, see if there's any information out there. It's really easy to find information on a lot of established cosplay stores now, because they usually have a reputable storefront, but you can also look for reviews on things like blogs or on YouTube. It is really important to know that when you order a costume online, it may take longer to arrive because it is coming internationally, and even if it's ready by, say, the end of September, it might take a month to get to you. So depending on when the event is, if you've got a specific date in mind, you need to know it's going to be here in good time for your event. It's also important to consider things like customs depending on where you live, because if you import a costume to another country, you may be eligible to pay tax on that. So it may end up costing you more than what you first thought. Here's an example of a costume that I have. This is for Umi from Love Live. As you can see, the fabric on this costume is printed with flowers. It would have been much more time consuming and expensive for me to try and do this myself than to just buy the costume. The quality of the fabric is quite nice. Most of it is made with polyester, which means it resists creasing and it's very easy to store. The fastenings open and close with either elastic, safety pins or with Velcro. This means that it's very easy to get on and off, but it does need a little bit of extra support in places. The top doesn't have any fastenings at all, so when I wore this, I closed it with a safety pin and tucked it into the skirt. Overall, it's a really nice looking costume, especially for the price. If you can't find the character that you're looking for, you might want to get it commissioned. Working with a commissioner is very different from buying a pre-made costume, because it will be made to your exact measurements, to your exact specifications, and you may be requested to have a little bit more input into a costume than you would do buying it from a pre-made store. So for example, if you wanted more specific fabric or a more specific fit, you can request that from your commissioner and work to get something that is totally unique. Cosplay commissioners can be a little harder to find because they don't sell things that are pre-made. However, if you have a look on somewhere like Google, just type in where it is that you live and look for cosplay commissioner country, you should be able to find a list. It's also worth checking places like Etsy, because if you search up cosplay on there and people are selling costumes, chances are if you pop them a message, they may be able to take on something custom. Another great way to buy a costume is to have a look secondhand. There are groups dedicated to this on places like Facebook. You can also find sales posts through things like Depop and eBay. There are a lot of great reasons to buy secondhand. Firstly, you might get a bargain, because a lot of the time people are willing to sell their costumes just a little bit cheaper than what they paid. Next up, you're not wasting the costume. It's not going into landfill, it's not getting wasted anywhere, it's not sitting in a drawer and worn. It means that you get to wear it and give it a whole new lease of life. Thirdly, you might find characters that are a little more obscure, because selling something secondhand, it might be handmade, it might have been commissioned, it might have been pre-made, but the costume might not be available anymore, so it's a really good way to find characters that you can't necessarily find elsewhere for sale. And finally, you don't have to wait months for it to arrive. Even if you're buying a pre-made costume, chances are there'll be a wait time for it, and sometimes those wait times, they take a lot longer than what's first estimated. And if you're working with a commissioner, you're going to have a wait time regardless, because you need to communicate everything across, then they need to make the costume, then they need to send it to you. So buying a costume secondhand can cut out a lot of the waiting time, and it means that you get your costume a lot faster. The next option is to modify some clothes to look like a costume. If you research your character's design and see what makes up the design, it can be a lot easier than you think to buy clothes and then modify them. The easiest example I can give here is Lara Croft from Tomb Raider, because her costume is clothes. It's normal clothes, they're just a bit beaten up. Of course, you've got accessories and different pieces that really make the costume, but the core pieces are just normal clothes. There are lots of different ways that you can modify costumes too. For example, you can dye pieces. You can colour them with fabric paint or with markers, or even Sharpies. You can take them in with either a sewing machine or safety pins. There are lots of different things that you can do to adjust pieces to make it look more effective. Or with our previous example of Lara Croft, you can cut some holes in it and put dirt on it. And that counts too. I'm sure I don't need to recommend where you can buy basic clothing from, but some of my favourite recommendations are charity shops, because even if you don't necessarily find exactly what it is you're looking for, you will find a huge range of different things, and charity shops are very affordable. You can also try supermarkets for their budget clothing ranges, and normal chain stores that will sell cheap clothes. Modifying clothes to make a costume is also a really good way to learn how clothing itself works, which sounds a little bit silly, but for most people who are just getting started in cosplay, they don't necessarily think about where seams are lying or the shape of their body compared to the clothing that they wear. So buying cheaper clothes and modifying it to fit is a really good way to get the basic understanding of that before going on to make your own costumes. If you're looking to modify clothes to make a costume, depending on the design, if it's a relatively easy costume to do, I'd also recommend that you have a look at how other people have done it. For example, if you have a look through tags on Instagram and find the same character that other people have cosplayed, some people may share where they've gotten pieces from or a step-by-step. So there we have it, my Cosplay for Beginners guide. Of course, there is a lot more to cosplay than what I could ever fit in this video, but I really hope if you're a beginner and you're just getting started with cosplay that you found it helpful. Before I wrap things up, hi, I'm Heather, or Exelia. I'm a cosplayer from the UK and I've been cosplaying for over 15 years. I've also represented the United Kingdom in 3 separate international cosplay competitions and judged internationally. So I hope whatever I was talking about made sense. It comes from a place of love and lots of experience. If you like this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up, because that really helps. If you think someone else would benefit from this video, please share it with them. That would be really cool. And if you haven't already and you'd like to join me for some more cosplay chatter in the future, tap the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. If you're looking for some more cosplay related content, please do check out the rest of my channel, because I make a lot of cosplay themed videos. Some of them are a little bit quirkier, some of them are informative. I'm sure you'll find something fun. As always, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you very soon.